usually, yeah, live on Facebook.
Hi,
I'm really
everybody.
excited. Here's my beautiful guest, Shaneil, who's, sorry, her business is Shaneil
You?
Seduction and Success. And I'm really excited to talk to her on the CoCreative Sex Dialogues. Sorry, I have a little cough for someone. No
Bless you,
worries, it's
bless you.
not COVID. It's just a little something stuck in my throat.
No, don't worry.
I've
We're
been
social
noticing.
distancing technically, so it's fine. I'm fine. I'm across the ocean.
It's so funny because like we were talking about this with some friends that when we're out in public now and we cough just because we have something in our throat, or we're
Yeah,
always like worried, like, don't worry, people, I'm not sick.
true. Like even over the weekend, I was with my in-laws, right? And like I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but I was choking on my own saliva. And
Yeah.
it's weird. It happens to me sometimes. So I was choking on my saliva and I started to cough and I was just like, oh my God, I hope they don't think I'm like, gonna infect them or something. It was so funny. But then they asked, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm choking on saliva. They're like, okay, she's good. It's okay.
Exactly. Okay, so take two. So yeah, I'm really excited to have Shaneil on my show. I started kind of seeing her, I think we became Instagram buddies, and I just loved her energy. She's so vibrant and, loves just like getting out there and sharing her good energy with the world, and loves moving and dancing, and just like really sexy. And I was like, okay, she's got some
Thank
secret
you.
juju going for her. Let's interview her, because we're on a quest here on the Co-Creative Sex Dialogues to sort of deepen around body shame,
Yeah.
and shame in all its different ways. And I figured you probably have thought about this and have
Yeah.
something interesting to say. And I'd like to also say that you're also a coach. You work as a business success coach. You bring in
Yeah.
seduction as a way of like amplifying everything. What
Yeah.
can you tell us about who you are and what you do?
So I consider myself a reinvention strategist. But the truth is, it's not reinventing you into someone else, it's reinventing you into who you've always known you wanted to be. And like that, I call it the 10.0 version of you. Most people are like 2.0. I'm like, no, 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 no. 10.0, honey. And the truth is, the 10.0 version of us, and by the way, if you guys are listening to this and you're hearing the sea, it's because I'm literally beside the sea. So if you hear waves, that's what you're hearing, right? But for me, when I think about the truth of reinvention, it's like reinvention on all levels. So it's bank account bliss, but bedroom bliss as well. And so for me, I realized that when it comes to helping my clients or helping people or just sharing my message, most people feel uncomfortable being too much, right? We know we're called for something big. We know we're called for magnificent things. We know we want to have more, do more, be more, live more. But then we kind of hide away because we're afraid of rejection. What if it doesn't work? What if people don't like it? And we shrink ourselves. And so for me, when I help people to reinvent, it's about turning on their sensuality, their seduction, that magnetism within them that helps them to like own their power unapologetically. So that's pretty much what I do. I like literally flip your whole mindset of yourself on its head. And the beautiful thing that comes from that is when you are that person, that 10.0 version of you, you make more money without burnout. You have a more thriving relationship as well. And so why not? It's like a win-win-win all around.
Right. So how did you kind of find these secrets to like success? What was your journey there?
So I feel like for me, when it came to like being seductive in goal setting, not just talking about like in a like relationship sense, but like being seductive when I wanted a goal or, anything at all, a job, a raise, anything at all, I realized that I always had this way where I believed strongly in myself and was able to get whatever I wanted. I really honestly, I wasn't born in a family where I could get everything I wanted. My family was actually just basic, like actually with a lot of background in struggle. So it wasn't a family of get what you want. It was a family of work hard and barely scrape by and you still won't get what you want. Okay. It was like that. And somehow I just came out the womb and I'm like, no, we're not having this. I'm going to get what I want, even if it means, going against the grain. And so what I realized was I always had that essence, but when I became an entrepreneur, I forgot it. I knew how to do it in jobs. I knew how to do it in school. I knew how to do it in everyday life. But when it came to my business, I just could not figure out how to stand out. And I remember one of my lowest moments when I just started was I went to this conference and I had paid $10,000 to be in this program. And all these women from across the world, we all flew to Miami. We were at the Ritz-Carlton and we went to this amazing event. And here we are. And I felt like I didn't belong. I felt like, do I belong here? I had an accent. You know, I felt like I was one of the few Black people in the room. I was 100% one of the youngest. I was like 23 years old at the time. Most of the people in there were older than I was. And so I felt in every sense of the way that I wasn't good enough. And then to add insult to injury, a lot of the women were making like 10K months, 20K months, 30K months. And I had made $0, honey, and 0 cents. And I felt like I did not belong. And I just remembered when the break time would come around, you know, the head coach who was hosting the event, she'd say, guys, mingle, meet your sisters, blah, blah, blah. I would head straight for the bathroom, close myself in the stall, and wait till the crowd died down before I came out because I did not want to be seen. But that wasn't my true essence. That wasn't my true identity. And most people here watching now, your sensuality, your seductiveness, that magnetism is a natural part of your being. When you were a baby, people couldn't help but say, she's so cute or he's so cute, right? And so I realized that I had these limiting beliefs around my own worth when it came to being an entrepreneur. And I had to relearn being sexy, being captivating, being magnetic, and just really being myself in my industry and in my business. And I started with this process of calling it irresistible in your industry and helping people who were those underdogs, who they were struggling so hard, posting every time, getting crickets, nobody was noticing them, and helping them to get turned on first by their own self, get turned on by their own message and their own business, and then have that emanate from outside of them to bring in what it was that they wanted. And so when it came, oh, go ahead.
No, go. You finish your idea.
So when it came to the sensuality piece, because that was like the seduction piece, but when it came to the more sensuality of it and the more divine feminine honing in on letting it be easy, that came after. Because even though I had this breakthrough of being magnetic and pulling people in, I still had a story of struggle. And so I was working really hard. Okay. I was working 100 hours a week. I would wake up at 3 a.m. in the middle of the night answering client messages, and I was burnt out. And when I came to the decision of this is not who I am, I remembered that as a soul, I am connected to the divine. And when God, source, universe, whatever you want to call it, made everything that was, it was like, let there be. It was easy. And if I am a piece of that divine being, body, feeling, essence, spirit walking around in a physical form, then I too can have it be easy. And so I started to connect with my intuition and my soul even more. And that's when it started to get super juicy. Oh my God, that's when it became like flow and just juice, you know, like orgasmically, juicily, just like life was bringing me pleasure without the struggle. I was still being magnetic, still being seductive, but having fun. And that's where the 10.0 version of everyone comes in. It's when you're not just magnetic and people like you and they know you, but it's when it's not forced. Right? It's kind of like, you know, I like using the example of making love. When you're making love and you're not thinking about, am I doing it right? You're not forcing it. That's when you can actually like release and open up fully and actually experience the full capacity of pleasure. And that's what happens when you become the 10.0 version of you. Is like you become more open and receptive to having that happen, not just in your relationship, but in your business, in your bank account, in your bedroom, in every area.
And it sounds like being like really authentic as well. Like, you know, not trying to control it, but it's like this kind of authenticity that comes from cultivating this inner place of joy and vibrancy. Well, tell us a little bit, like before you had these big realizations, how did you think you started to believe that you were a smaller version of yourself? Like, what were the messages that you received?
I mean, I think comparison.
And just for the audience that's listening to us, like Shaneil is killing it basically. If you go to her Instagram account, she's got like 12 6.6K people following her, and she's like on the
you.
ball, having fun, and you
Yeah.
really sense that she's like just thriving.
Living my
So
life, honey.
exactly.
And honestly, the beautiful thing about it is I'm not trying to thrive. I'm just doing
Exactly.
me. And there was a time where, you know, because you asked the question of like, when did I realize this thing of me shrinking? And it was when I would be taught actually from mentors, you need your photo shoot to look like this. You
Right.
need to have a luxury brand so that people will want to pay you more. It
Yes.
was always something I needed to do so that I was worthy, so that people could pay me, so that I could validate the worth and be
Yeah.
good enough. And
Right.
the truth
And I'm
is,
getting
I was
shivers
born.
here. That's good.
Yeah. But the truth is, babe, like we're born good enough.
Right.
No one on this planet could have created this co-creative sex dialogues the way you are doing it.
Right.
There's tons of people talking about body shaming and everything, but they cannot do it Julie's way. They could never in a million years do it your way. Right. And so for a long time when I was playing small, it was because I was looking at this example that was given to me of what my photo shoot should be like and what my brand should be like and what a luxury brand is and who I should be. And that's when I started playing small because I realized that it just didn't feel authentic. It's funny you mentioned the word authentic, but it didn't feel like me.
Mm-hmm.
And before I actually learned that stuff, I was getting networking opportunities, international speaking engagements, because I was just following my guidance.
Mm-hmm.
But when I learned this rigid way of it has to be like this, you must send 3 emails a week and you must post 3 times a day and you must do 1 pitch post and 1 content post and then you must do this and oh my God, and you have to do a webinar. No, do a teleseminar and you must get on summits and you must do this and do this. And it wasn't anything that I wanted. It was because I had to. And the rule breaker inside of me was just like, nah, this is not you, Shaneil. And I was fighting with myself because I was watching all these people do their photo shoots in Paris. And by the way, I had lived in Paris and Paris is not my favorite place on the planet. It's like on the bottom of the list personally. No, don't throw tomatoes, please. Okay, I know some of you guys like your Paris. Keep your Paris. It's yours. You can have it. I don't want it. I live in Italy. I'm good. Okay, keep your Paris to yourself. But for me, Paris was like at the bottom of my list. I lived there. I studied in Paris. I went to school and it just wasn't for me, right? And I like this kind of coastal kind of vibe. And here I was seeing all my peers do photo shoots in Paris and they were all making 50K months, 6 figures in their business. And I was like, well, do I need to do that then? But it just wasn't me. It just was not me. And then when I would do the photo shoot, the photographer would like let me pose in the way everybody else is posing and like stand like this and say like this and do like that. Oh my God, when I stopped doing that, and I remember vividly because I went to Jamaica, which is where I'm originally from. And I was in my element because Jamaica is an island, you know, we have a little rootsy, we have a little vibe, you know, a little tropical thing going on. But Jamaicans are also very sexy people. Like even if we don't fit the modern day standard of sexy, we're sexy. We're sexy people, right?
Yeah.
And so when I had my photo shoot there, it was like, this is me. I'm home. And that's when my business took off because I put me into it, not a replica or a Coca-Cola factory stamp of that mentor. It was like, who do I want to be? You know,
Right.
I stopped trying to put on a twang and I would jump into little nuances of my accent. Like I would turn it on actually. Because when I'm around my sister, I'm around my friend, I'll talk normal. But then when I'm emphasizing, I will jump into a little phrase. And then, of course, I give my audience a little translation so they know what I'm saying, you know, so they understand.
But they feel that you're playful and engaging.
Yeah, because that's me in real life. You know, that's me in real life. Like if you hang out with me, you cannot have a boring time, right? You can't. What? Like my friends call me the vibes master. They literally call me the vibes master for a reason. I used to MC and host the parties and things like that. Like you don't do that stuff if you're like stuck up or whatever. And I'm not saying if your personality is more reserved, then own that shit. Be that person. Don't try to put on this fierce, like this playful. No, be you. who are you when you're with your best friend? You're shady, you're a little sneaky person, you know, like be all of that. Be that. You know, like if you're a hardcore person, be that, honey.
Right.
Be that.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
Yeah, I love it. I love the story that I heard on your actually Instagram feed about when you were younger and you're preparing for your exams.
Oh.
And then you're like, you kind of realize like, hey, I don't need to put as much effort into this. You want to tell us a story about how, yeah, it's like, it sounds like a lot of things. You're like, you look how things are done and what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to think. And you're like, that doesn't work for me. I can do it this way. Can you share
I'm so glad.
like what that story was such a great story?
Absolutely. So it's funny because I was actually talking to my sister about it today, and I was talking to my client about it on Monday. So the story has been very present this week. But the thing is, guys, so when I was in high school, I would wait till the last minute to do my homework. Like literally, the teacher would be coming in the class in 10 minutes, and I'm just doing my homework. And I would still get one of the top grades in the class. Or we had exam. This was the big one. We had the exam. This is the Caribbean equivalent of the SATs. Okay, this is a big milestone in your life. It's the SATs, it's the CXC exams. And I was gonna do my CXC exams. And I remember going to the undercraft and seeing all my classmates cramming. They're studying and they're like, I have to pass, and they're reading all these books and they're like pulling all-nighters. And I'm looking at them and I'm like, oh my God, sis, we're gonna get the same grade, first of all. Second of all, we're probably gonna go to the same university and we're gonna get the same job, and I'm probably gonna get a better paycheck because I'm actually more charismatic and I'm having way more fun. That's me in my head. But the day of the exam, my friend and I, Jace, we were like partners in crime. We had our exam at like 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock. They're about in the afternoon. And the first exam was like 8 o'clock. We spent the entire morning from when we went to school at 6:30, 7 a.m. We went early until minutes before our exam making prank calls. Making prank calls. Guys, we have this is the SATs we're talking about here. We're making prank calls.
Like, what can you give me an example of your prank call? Like, what would you do?
So we would take one phone and we would call Pizza Hut, and we would take another phone, we call Domino's, and then we would put the phones together and somebody would be like, hi, welcome to Pizza Hut. And the other person's like, no, but this is Domino's. And the other person's like, no, but you called out, this is pizza. What? And then we're just going back and forth and we're dying with laughter, right?
Oh my
gosh. Other pranks that we've done, there's this teacher, like this is kind of mean. She doesn't eat meat. We know she doesn't eat meat, but we ordered jerk chicken for her. Jerk chicken is kind of like barbecue chicken. So we ordered takeout, like delivery, and they came to the school to deliver the chicken to her. And she's like, I didn't order this, right? We've done so many things. We called our friend's mom and told her, we're calling from the television, whatever. You won a prize to be on the TV, the game show. Please come to us to come collect your prize and to be a part of the show. She leaves work and goes. Guys, we were terrible. We were terrible, okay? We were horrible. But you know what? In the moment, it was hilarious. It's still hilarious right now. And if I could go back, I wouldn't change a thing. I took that exam at 1 o'clock and I got a grade 1, which is the highest level you can get with a straight A profile. Every category, I got an A. Because when I went into the exam room, I was so relaxed. I was just, I didn't know the answer, but I said, well, what could it possibly be? This was a history exam, by the way, so you should know the answer because it's history. But I thought, I'm like, what could it possibly be? And I just wrote and I just showed up and I just did my thing. And my mind was free. My mind was clear. And it's the same in business and it's the same in relationship. It's the same in life. When you come to life with tension, you're not thinking, you're not flowing. You're like rigid. Grease it up, man. Loosen up. Lighten up. Like play. And one of the recent things that I've done to add some more play in my life is Carlo, we went to the Chinese store. You have the Chinese wholesale that sell like all kind of toys and stuff and things like that. We went there and we bought some water guns. And what I did was I filled the water gun with water and then I put it in the freezer. So the water would get really cold. And then when Carla was in the shower, I I started squirting him with the freezing cold water, and he's like, stop, stop. But it's funny because then when I wasn't even in the shower, to be honest. I was just in my normal daily life. He comes, starts spraying me. I'm like, stop, like, soaked me. And just doing things like that just makes you relax, guys. Like, we're here, we have this life. Be present, enjoy it. That's how you activate your sensuality. That's one of the ways. There are many ways.
Like fun and play, and just giving yourself permission to enjoy, have pleasure, and the funniest things, like even like, a water gun.
Or whatever your version of that is. Maybe it's a food fight. Maybe it's slapping pie in somebody's face. I don't care. But like, listen, when you think about sensuality, people automatically take their mind to sex. Right. That's not what sensuality is. Sex is one expression of you being sensual. But sensuality is your ability to connect with your senses. Sensuality comes from your senses. Now, what are your senses? You can feel, see, hear, touch, taste. In order to activate your sensuality, you want to be present. Feel, laugh, smell, taste, experience life. Yeah. Because you're reconnecting with the soul essence of who you truly are. Yeah. And guess what? Your intuition loves that. Yeah. When I'm doing things like that, I'm getting crazy ideas for that video. I did that video. You saw the video. You like the video. You and I are connected even more because of it. Yeah. Right? So you're getting ideas for posts and content and videos and courses and products that you wouldn't have gotten otherwise. Right. Because you're trying to be so strategic and trying to micromanage, but how many conversion rates and what's the percentage, and I need this amount of people on my list, and if I could only have guys, I literally, I remember having 40 people in my Facebook group, and I had like my first 5K month back. This was back in 2016 with 40 people in the group, and I was selling something for $350 a month. That's what I was selling, and I was making 5K consistently. Because people were showing up, because I was showing up from a place of fun and playfulness. So think about in yourself, what do you like to do? And then add that in. I remember, I'll give you even another example. I was talking about like business and money. This was, when was this? April 2018, I think. This was the first time I had a $60,000 month. You know what inspiration I got? To get ready and do my makeup on video while talking to everybody. It was a Saturday, and I was just doing my makeup, and I was just talking to everybody. And it was funny because I was trying to do the mascara and then trying to do the eyeliner while talking to the camera. And it was just like crazy, but it was funny. I had fun, they had fun. And from that, a whole lot of people ended up signing up for one-on-one and intensives with me, leading to my first $60,000 month. Amazing. Playing with makeup. You can't, no strategy can invent that. What your intuition and your sensuality can create. Yeah. And here's the thing about the strategies too, like somebody invented a webinar. Some dude or girl was like, or lady, they were like, I wish I could just do this seminar on the internet. And they're like, ooh, a webinar, a seminar on the web. And now all of us are like, you have to do a webinar or you have to do a live stream. No, sweetie, you do what you're called to do. Right. You may create the new seminar. You may create the new webinar. Exactly. So I love it. So like, so I think it'd be really interesting to hear, like, when you work with your clients. So first of all, who are your clients? So it depends. I have a different levels of clients receive different levels of support. So for my one-on-one clients, most times they're entrepreneurs. They're already making six figures. They're already successful in their business, but they're burnt out. They are completely in their masculine energy. And guess what? No matter how hard they work, they're hitting that glass ceiling. Their income is not increasing. So they're pissed, okay? Because they're spending $7,000 a month on ads. They're doing all the things, the photo shoots, everything. And it's not working because they're hustling too hard. So those are the people who are like my highest level one-on-one clients. But then my other clients, meaning people in my courses and masterminds and stuff, these are people who they have their businesses. Some of them are just in their 9-to-5 wanting to transition to business, but they don't understand what direction to go in. Mm-hmm. And they don't want to get to the place where they build this business successfully and hate it. They just
Right.
want to build it from the start, from soul, from being sexy and fierce and fun and their 10.0 self. And then there's a third category, which it's beautiful because these people, most of them come to me from YouTube. They're going through stuff in their relationship and they feel like they're always the man in the relationship. And so they're Googling, how can I improve my feminine energy? And then boom, there I am at the top of the search. So they're watching the videos and then they're binging and, you know, they realize that they want to tune into their sensuality more. So that's why I call my brand Seduction and Success. Because even when I look at the woman who is the six-figure entrepreneur, it's the Sahara Desert in her bedroom. She's not getting anything. She's not getting nothing. It's all dried out. It's like the Sahara Desert. There's no chemistry, there's no love. Or sometimes they want to leave the partner they're with, or sometimes they're single and they're ready to actually receive love, but they're married to their business. So I realized that every person, it's gonna be the woman, and I haven't meant to, but it's gonna be the person who they want seduction and they want success. That's who it is. Whatever state you're in, whether you're in college, you're transitioning into the working world, when you're trying to start a business, or you're already in a business and you're just trying to go bigger, right? You want to have that.
So how old are your clients normally? Like what age group do they fit in?
They're all age groups. I have clients who are 21 years old and I have clients who are 65 years old. They span a wide range. For example, like I will have somebody who is 21 and they're like, I didn't go to college and so I wanna start a business, but I don't feel like I'm good enough because I don't have a degree and I don't have an. And it's like bringing them back to self-worth, helping them to understand what is their true soul path and their spiritual gifts, because the soul is a part of what I do. And then helping them to create their own lane, not what is the societal standard, but what is their calling? Why are they on this planet? Right? Helping them tap into that. And then I have the 65-year-olds who they're retiring or they're about to hit, they're on the verge of retiring. They're in their 60s and they don't want to just rely on a pension. They want to have a more meaningful, fulfilling life. They want to do something that matters. And then I have people in their 40s who like, they want to quit the job. Like I literally had a client, she just messaged me day before yesterday. She quit her job finally. You know, she quit her job, right? So there's no limit. It's just, do you know that you want to tap into your sensuality and create success from a place that is easy and fun, and you be turned on and you be like the 10.0 next level you? Then that's you. Then come on in, you know?
So I was just thinking in terms of like, just hearing those different examples of different clients that you work with, like, do you have an example of one client that you feel like, wow, I'm really excited what transformation happened in that situation? Like what were they dealing with and what happened in working with you?
I don't even know where to start because it's all of them. And it sounds, I don't know how many.
You know what, Shaneil? I actually believe you.
It's all of them. Every single person that I've worked with, they have a transformation in their business and in their relationship. For example, one of the person I'm talking about, she's 21, she didn't go to college. Literally, she started her business, okay? But not just that, she found her soulmate. And she's the one that messaged me. She's like, Shaneil, I was just looking at my journal from the first day we started working together. And everything I said, the intention for, has come to pass. It's only been 3 months.
Wow.
Right? And then there's the person who, they're in their 40s. Like the woman I told you, she literally just quit her job. She just quit her job. She's hated that job for years. She's always had her business, but on the side, and she's not gone all in. Boom, quits. That's it. She's done. She's like, I'm over it. Ready to go all in.
Right.
And not just is she ready to go all in, but LinkedIn, because that's where based on her niche and her industry, LinkedIn is where she does most of her work. LinkedIn has promoted her business on their paid platform. They've expanded her course. She teaches on diversity and inclusion, right? And one of her courses has over 80,000 students registered through LinkedIn.
Wow.
This is somebody who was in a job. So and that's exciting for me. And then there's also the person who started their own gym. They went from being a personal trainer to starting their own gym. And actually, despite COVID, having massive months in their business. There have been clients who they came to me and they healed the relationship with their father. And because they released that tension around their relationship with their father, finds their soulmate, gets married, now is married, invites me to the wedding. I have the clients who was the addicted to the always doing, makes $84,000 in the month June that just passed. She made $84,000. She made $50,000 within the first 11 days. And then she wrapped up the entire month at $84,000. And she said, Shaneil, it's never been this easy. This is somebody who I know has spent, before working with me, she spent $20,000 on private coaching, $10,000 on private coaching, $40,000 on a yearly mastermind with nothing to show. Or, I mean, yes, stuff to show, but barely anything to show. She works with me on my protocol that I use to help people to activate their sensuality and get not just sensuality, but also ease in their life. First 11 days, $50,000 in June. I'm talking about life after COVID. This is not life after COVID. We're still in COVID. This was June, mid-COVID.
That sounds pretty amazing.
Affected, you know? Yeah. So that's just my experience. Every person who has done the work, even one other lady, she just took my course. She took a course. I never spoke to her one-on-one. She just took the course. And literally, she was hiding the fact that she was married. And now she's open about her marriage to her friends, right? She's, I can't even get into some of the things she's doing because it's private stuff, but like the levels of life she's living in her relationship, her visibility in her business. I've had clients who they've sat on their business idea for 2 years. And within 6 weeks of taking my course, they're making sales in their business.
What do you feel is like the most satisfying thing for you, like in this whole process?
When I see them become bad bitches. Excuse my language if anybody on here don't like that language, but like that's my most rewarding thing, because the money comes, the relationship comes, but it comes because they become this next level. Like I don't recognize them. I go back to their welcome package and I'm like, yo, this is a different person. It's a different person. I don't recognize them. And it happens fast.
Well, what are the different, so you talked a little bit about the different programs you offer, but like, how can people work with you? What are the different things? Like you do that one-on-one coaching. How long is that process?
So at the moment, I'm not taking on new one-on-one clients because I only work with 3 people at a time. Okay. And the ones who are working with me now, the shortest time frame that one of them has is since January. Right. So it's August. So they keep renewing because they see how it's elevating them each time. So for one-on-one, that's something where if you're going to work with me one-on-one, it has to be like an intensive or something like that, where it's just me and you in a VIP container. We go deeply. I would give you that transformation. And I mean, if you and I are like kick it off, then of course I can always contemplate taking on a 4th person. But for now, I work with 3. But the main ways that they can work with me is through my different courses. Right. And so I have different courses depending on where you're at. So if you come to me and you say, Shaneil, I'm burnt out, I'm stressed, I'm free, I hate my business, I want to break up with my business, then of course I'm going to give you something like unapologetic. Okay? If you come to me
and just to know, like when you do your courses, are they mostly like all pre-recorded, or are you present with the participants?
So sometimes I run courses live, but you can have them at any point in time to yourself as a self-study. So you don't have to wait till I launch it live. I believe that when you are ready, the program is there waiting for you. I don't want you to be like, oh, well, she only launches this program in February. No, it's there. You want it now, you're ready today. And I think that's why people get quick transformation, because they come to me when they're actually really ready, you know? So they come committed. And so they get the program, they dive in and they're ready to go. So
that's a good point. Like people coming in with being committed makes a huge difference.
Yeah, because I have a good track record, and I don't want. It sounds weird, but like I don't want anybody messing up my track record. So only if you're ready. If you're not ready, then that's okay. That's okay. I will still be here in 5 years. These courses will still be available in 20. Whenever you are ready, I'm here. Whenever you're ready. But if you know that you're ready today, then let's roll. Let's do it.
Right. Right.
Right. So I think the best thing someone can do is to just message me and say like what they're really struggling with. And then I can give them the best recommended resource.
Yeah.
Okay, the best
Well,
recommended one.
I really love the names of your courses. Like the first one is unapologetic. What are the other
Yes.
names of the other one?
So we have
Unapologetic.
yeah. So we have unapologetic. Okay, so that one is all about you becoming that fierce baddie. Like that one is not for the faint of heart, by the way. It requires, that's the one like where people take it, they like within days, everything, just money, love, everything changes because it will push you out of your comfort zone. I will tell you this right now. It's not a game, it's not a course to play. It's not a course to play. It's fierce because it kicks your ass. Oh, by the way, all my courses that come with a Facebook group. It's called the Seduction and Success Society. And so even though we don't have it live, you can post your questions there and I treat you as if you're a one-on-one client. I respond to your questions deeply and I support you through. And sometimes I'll even do bonus videos going deeper if I see something that multiple people want to learn about. So that's unapologetic. That's where you become the 10.0 version of you who doesn't take any crap from life. And you are literally fierce, confident, owning your shit, deliciousness, like all of that. Then we have sexy soul activation. That's for the person who feels like they want to pivot, but they don't know what direction to go. So it helps you to understand what is your soul path. It helps you to understand how your specific intuition works. It helps you to understand what are your spiritual gifts, so you know what your magic is. Because most people, what they'll do is they'll take a course, they'll learn the steps from this mentor, then they'll just teach the same steps. But because they're teaching something that's not their own, like identified creation, they can hesitate to charge more, or they can kind of like be afraid if people sign up, or they'll downplay the power of their work because they don't realize how they contribute to the process. What Sexy Soul Activation does is exactly that. It activates your soul, so everything you do is powerful, it's potent, and it's coming from a divine place where people are moved by it, you are moved by it. It turns you on, and so it turns them on. It activates you, and so it activates them. That's Sexy Soul Activation. Then, after you've done that, right, you want to become #industry famous. So we got the program, #industry famous. And it's about how you can really use this soulful word that you now know and become a living legend. Become the go-to person in your industry. Because I don't believe people who come to me are small players. They're catalysts. They come to me because they know they're meant for something massive in the world. And so what #industry famous does is helps them to position themselves energetically, physically, mentally, emotionally, strategically, financially, in all the alleys as the go-to person in their industry. There's a reason you felt led to message me. It's because what I teach in Industry Famous is what I embody on a daily basis. Right. So we have that. But then if it is that you've seen these programs and you want all of them, we do have Dominatrix. Dominatrix is the bundle for taking all of them. Okay, so you actually do save like $2,000 when you take Dominatrix because you get access to every single course. And Dominatrix actually comes with bi-weekly calls and live streams and trainings. So you can come on, get your questions answered, get hot seats and all that stuff as well. So those are just some of the offers, yeah.
Wow, well, it sounds really dynamic and really exciting for your clients.
Thank you.
So I really like this question. I think it's a really pertinent one around, how a lot of women that are creative, are go-getters, will be often finding themselves depleted and having difficulty in the relationship or become the kind of strong person in the relationship. How do you deal with that? What do you say about that?
So the truth is, whenever we are experiencing anything at all, anything that we're experiencing from another person who's close to us, because most times these things will come from people who are close to us, like you're saying, like a partner or something. it's a mirror of something within us. It's a reflection of something within us, right? It's bringing out this trigger or this thing because there's something there to be resolved. Okay. So if it is that you feel like you have to be doing everything, it goes to the question of where in your childhood were you not supported? Where were you pushed to have to be everything for everyone? Because that person is just a reflection of that story, so you can heal that, right? And so let's say the person doesn't listen to you, or the partner doesn't listen, they're not attentive. It's also another question of where are you not listening to yourself, right? Where are you not hearing yourself? So if you think about it, right, if your partner is not hearing you, they're not listening, they're not acknowledging you, and you're the same person who is also working really hard in your business, how often are you acknowledging yourself? How often are you taking time to turn off your phone, to go by yourself somewhere and just be, acknowledge yourself? So they're literally just a reflection of your own things that need working on. Now, if you've worked on all the things that need to be worked on and you're still having a problem, then my darling, it's just a boundary. It means you have a conversation and you say, I'm not available for that. And you know that you are willing to walk away from any circumstance or any person that does not serve you, period. Because you are worthy, because you are deserving, because you are amazing, and because you know that you can bring in 10 better people in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And even if you didn't bring in 10 better people in a heartbeat, you knew that you as a soul are worthy.
Yeah.
You knew that you were still worthy. So first things first, people, whenever you have this kind of dynamic in your relationship where it feels unbalanced, look, who is this reminding you of? What story is this reminding you of? Could it be that your father wasn't there for you? Or could it be that you saw your mom always having to be the one that's in charge? Could it be that your mom wasn't in charge and she was abused, and now you're like, well, that's never going to happen to me, so now I have to be strong. What is the story? Then look and say, what I hate about this person or that I dislike about this person, how am I doing it to myself? How am I actually perpetuating the same problem with my own self, right? And then if you've cleared all of that, it's just a boundary. And that boundary can be a conversation. And sometimes that boundary looks like cutting some people out of your life. You just have to know that even without that person, you're still a bad bitch. You're still sexy as hell. You're still beautiful and magnificent and a soulful, powerful catalyst who's still here to change the world, period.
Right. Well, there's two things that are kind of going in my mind. I was like, which one should I choose first? Maybe I'll ask this one first. I know that you're in Italy, but I'm sure you've been following everything going on in the US in terms of all the racial kind of debates and struggles. And, you know, it's something that happens around the world in different levels. What would you say to people that come to you with these kind of struggles?
As in like racism?
Yeah, racism, you know, how do we create, you know, situations where people are heard and you know, feel valued and because there's, you know, sometimes we feel like there's this feeling almost of helplessness sometimes of like, well, it feels like whatever I say or do might not be really received.
Right.
And it's so then it just feels like we're just keeping this divide. And I'm just curious if you thought, because like your way of being is just like so vibrant and so out there, and I'm, you know, you're living your life, and I'm just curious, like what have been your reflections about all these dynamics? I mean, it's vast, and just whatever comes up for you.
So the thing is, we have to look at the problem as what it truly is, and it requires, and you know, when this whole thing, because even though I'm in Italy, I'm originally from Jamaica, which is on that hemisphere. And literally half of my family live in New York. My sister lives in Philadelphia. So I'm very, very aware of what happens there. And when
Yeah.
my dad goes to visit my sister, I'm like praying, like, God protect him. Like,
Right.
you know, I don't want to hear I lost my father to some stupid violence, you know? So
Exactly.
I see it, I witness it, I know what's happening. But for me, I realize that it has to be a twofold thing.
Right.
It has to be a both party thing. So on one hand, if you see, let's say, let's use like a puppy, like you have a puppy, and a puppy is the nicest, cutest, most cuddly puppy ever. But if that puppy is wounded and hurt, that puppy will bite you. It will bite you, not
Yeah.
because it doesn't like you, but
Yeah.
because it's hurt.
Yeah.
And so you, as the, you know, person playing with the puppy or trying to take care of the puppy, you have to be aware that that puppy is hurt, and you have to
Yeah.
meet that situation with compassion.
Yeah.
You have to meet that situation without taking it personally, to say, oh, this dog hates me. No, the dog doesn't hate you. The puppy is hurt.
Yeah.
And you have to see it from that place. But we're also talking about people and not puppies.
Yeah.
And so on the other side, I believe that you can catch more flies with sugar than with vinegar. And so sometimes it's not what we're saying, is how we're saying it. Because it's easier for someone to receive what you're saying based on how it is said. And so I believe that there has to be like, and I can understand why as Black people, we don't want to say it nicely because we're tired. Like, we don't want to say it nicely. We're tired. So what I would say to like our allies is, if we're saying it to you and we're saying it in the most nasty way, don't take it personally. Do not take it personally. Understand that we're hurt, and that's why we're lashing out in that way. But then in the same vein, I will also say to my fellow Black brothers and sisters that if we really want people to listen to us, we have to speak so they will listen. Right? And so it's a twofold thing. And the problem cannot be fixed on our own. And that's why when I saw this whole thing happen, I made a very strong post and I said, like, you need to be, we need all hands on deck. Like, everybody needs to be a part of this.
Yeah.
Because I have friends who, one of my closest friends, she's Asian. And she said, Shaneil, I had no idea that this is what you experienced, because she was asking me, but is this really a thing, this racism? And I said to her, absolutely. I said, when I go into a store, I keep my phone in my hand. Before I go into the store, I take my phone out, I take my purse out. Because if I go into my bag while I'm in the store, they will say, oh, she's stealing because she's Black, because of the color of my skin. So my whole life, I think about that, right? Always making sure, even my clients, like the one I told you, one of them who has a job, she's the only Black person in the entire company. She works for a big corporate firm in New York City, and she's the only Black person. And so this is our daily life. And so I just believe that somebody will have to back down at one point. And I don't think it's always fair to expect the person who has been oppressed to be the one backing down because they're hurt.
Yeah.
So I know it's hard. It's a hard pill to swallow when we say, do your anti-racism work and don't ask me any questions about this. Go research, go read. I know it's hard. I know it's hurtful. But it's not about you. It's really not even about you. It's about thinking about our safety. Thinking about knowing that my dad can't visit his daughter and not risk getting shot for no reason because of the color of his skin. So, you know, it's important that each person in the situation, whether you're Black or white or whatever race you're from, to realize in that moment, how can I see the other person? And how can I communicate to the other person so that we have a win-win?
Right.
So every person has to take responsibility. That's the only way it's going to work.
Yeah.
Either that, or we're going to destroy the world and then start over. And like, that sounds exhausting. So let's just all get our shit together, please. Thank you. I would love to come to the US and come with my father and know that he's going to be safe.
Yeah. That's totally, that makes total sense. And the other question I wanted to ask you, which is a complete shift.
Good question, by the way.
Thank you. And I really appreciated your response. It was like full of like depth and just nuance and passion. And
I felt
so
like
it was
kind of
amazing.
went around a bit, you know, but hopefully whoever is listening to this and is asking that question can just realize, like, if there's a puppy and the puppy is sick, you would never be angry at the puppy. You would be compassionate. So let's think about our fellow human beings. We're hurting.
Yes.
You know, have compassion and realize that it's not at the core about you, the person.
Yeah.
It's the situation. And then from my fellow Black brothers and sisters, like, we can catch more flies with sugar than with vinegar. Let's look at how we communicate, you know, as well.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for that. And I also love how you bring in the piece of communication. I mean, communication is such a difficult thing to really master, right? It's like something we're called to like deepen all the time.
Yeah.
I know myself, I'm just like in the thick of like realizing how sometimes I communicate in ways, sometimes I can be so, you know, I see myself as so kind, and then sometimes I get into these places of real intensity and I don't mean to, but it comes out in such a strong way because it just comes from such a real potent place. So yeah, and it's like, it's not easy.
But you're a human.
Exactly.
That's what makes you beautiful, girl.
Exactly. Okay, well, the other question, it's like like I say, it was completely shifting away, but I'm just curious why you chose Italy. How did you get there?
Random. My man's Italian. That's pretty much it. but in all honesty, like, so we actually met in England because I was doing my master's, and it was like a joint master's in the UK, France, Denmark. So I had to be moving around a lot. And we met in England, and 1 month later I was supposed to be moving to Denmark, and he literally left his job, he left everything and moved halfway across the continent to come be with me. And we've just been inseparable ever since. But our main place of settling down, because I still go to the UK, I still have my company is a British company, I pay taxes in the UK, like my finances, everything is in the UK. It's just that I love the sunshine. Right. So 2018, I kind of convinced him, I'm like, why don't we go to, you know, like, I don't need to be in England. I can work online. Why don't we go to Italy? You know, we have property there. You know, let's go. Come on, let's go. And, you know, I convinced him. And so this is where we're in Italy at the moment. Yeah. But yeah, pretty much long and short of it, he's Italian. That's it. But for me, being from the Caribbean, I fell in love with Sicily because you know, I live in Italy, but I live specifically in Sicily. And Sicily is an island. I live. This is actually my house. I live right here. Wow. This is my gate. Nice. My back gate. Like, so I just come out here. And so for me, I come from the Caribbean where I live on an island. And so being here reminds me of home. Yeah. So even though I'm miles away from Jamaica, I feel at home because there's the sun, there's the beach, it's a little chaotic here, Sicily. Very chaotic, very, very chaotic. But that little chaos reminds me of Jamaica. So, you know, but on occasion, I do need to go to England where there is like no chaos. And it's very prim and proper and very British and very organized. Okay. Because
you get different soul qualities in different places.
Precisely. So I need to have both.
So what did you study? You went to England to do your master's. What were you studying there?
So my background is in social work. So I've always been about helping people. Like when I was working as a social worker, because for me, I didn't do child protection. I know, like in the US and a lot of these countries, child protective services is a big thing. In the Caribbean, we have, but we don't do child protective services. We do community development. And so for me, I was responsible for 6 different communities, over 2,000 people. I had 2,000 clients. I had to meet with them, counsel them, help them find jobs, help them. Some of them had gone to jail and come out. Like, but it's about community development. And so for me,
that's nice, actually.
I love it. And that's one of the reasons why, even with my coaching, like, I plan to have a foundation as well where we can still do stuff like that and still give back to communities. But one of the reasons why I chose the master's program is because it had these different countries. So I could understand what social work was like in the UK versus France versus Denmark. So I could take the best of it and bring it to Jamaica and improve the system there. But then life happened and I discovered coaching and I went on another path. And here I am talking about sensuality on the internet and, you know, it's working for the people. But yeah.
So what do you
Here
think
I
is
am.
your biggest weapon in your purse, like in terms of your success and your well-being?
Um, wow, I've never been asked this question. I literally do not have like what is my biggest weapon of success? Faith.
Faith?
Faith.
Yeah, because
I
to
believe,
like to jump in front of a post and just do whatever, it takes faith that
yeah,
you're just like taking a risk.
yeah. I have faith. I have faith in God, the higher power. I have faith in myself. And I have
Mm,
faith that even if it all goes to hell and it all is like like shitty and it just flops big time, I have faith that I can get up and fix it and do it over again.
that is
I have
like
faith.
this foundation of like nothing can possibly take you down.
Listen, let me tell you, one of the biggest things that taught me that was my mom died when I was 15 years old.
Wow.
Okay. And she was sick for 2 years. And for those 2 years, I had to take care of my sister. And when she died, my sister was 8 years old. So I raised my sister. And if I can see my mom die and still thrive,
Mm,
you can't stop me.
hmm.
You're not gonna stop me. I don't care what you say. You're not stopping me, period.
Right. So where did you get that spark of life? Because I really feel this deep joy in you and deep vibrancy. Was your family a very happy family? Were they, what was the your childhood? I mean, it's a big question, man. We don't have that much time
Yeah.
left, but I'm still curious, like in your family life, what kind of energy and vibe was there?
Yeah, I mean, outside of, like the sadness, like I said, from my mom and everything, I feel like we were a pretty playful family. Like immediately as they asked the
Was she
question,
sick? Was she sick like pretty much your whole childhood, or just really when you got to
no,
around
for
15?
yeah, 13 to 15.
Right.
Yeah, she had
Which
kidney
is an
kidney
important
failure and
moment.
everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
really, really important. And so I think though, when you ask the question at first, the memory that flashes into my mind was, oh my God, if I like this is such a I don't know. Anyway, let's just share the story. Let's go into the story. So as a family, we were all watching the TV. This was like a Friday night, and my mom farts. Okay, like I'm telling you, random story. My mom farts. It smelled horrible. I know, guys, this is going somewhere. I promise. Just stay with me. I've never shared this story on the internet, like, but my mom farts. It smelled like death. Okay, it smelled terrible. This is before she was sick. This is when we were like younger and life was just beautiful. So she farts, and my dad grabs me and my sister, throws us over his shoulder, busts through the door, runs out the yard, busts through the gate, runs down the street. Come, children, let me rescue you. And my mom would just be like laughing. So that's just one of the examples of just the playfulness of our family. And we weren't wealthy. We weren't like, we were literally, like I said, we had struggle, but there was always this playfulness. And like there will be times we'll be sitting down again and my dad would just jump on the chair and say, yeah, and just like start making random noises. And you know, and I think it's not just even the immediate family. Like my dad has 8 brothers and sisters, and my mom has around like 7, no, 7. But then my grandma like took in random people off the street, so let's call it 20 aunties on my mom's side. So we have all these aunts, and when everybody comes together, there's always jokes and laughing and stories, and so I feel, and everybody has a strong personality. So to really hold your own in that
Yeah.
family, you
Yeah.
have to have a strong personality as well.
Yeah.
But it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I think that's it comes from family, I think.
And your dad seemed really fun and like playful and original in his way of being. How did he
100%.
how did he cope with his wife dying? Your mom
It
dying?
was, I mean, he's still coping,
Yeah.
because there's a difference when someone you lose a loved one,
Yeah.
and there's a difference when they're sick for 2 years and you're holding on to the hope that they will get better. Because what would happen is she would get better and then she would deteriorate, and then she would get better and then she would deteriorate. And I think she was just tired, and she just she stopped fighting at one point, because it was like it's been 2 years. And so when you have your spouse and you make a commitment to say till death do us part, or like forever, you see forever, you think about your children and your future, and they just built a house. They didn't buy a house, they built their dream house together, and they're doing all these things together and working together as a team, and then you just lose this person, and you're left as a single father with two girls, with the periods and the hormones and the sibling rivalry and the boys, and
How did he cope with that?
only he could tell you. Like, I have no idea, because my sister and I, we were not easy. I'm telling you that right now. We were not easy, but he, I don't know, but to this day, and in those moments when he's raising us, he's being strong. So even now, like, my sister is just going through university, so he's still not finished as a single parent doing everything himself. And so, he's had moments. Oops.
Oh,
can you
there
see?
you go.
Oh
You're
yeah,
back.
my battery. Sorry about that. My battery got the notification. So he's had moments where he's got to heal and release.
Yeah.
But it's a lot, it's a lot. And so while he's with us, he wasn't able to process his emotions, because he didn't want us to, parents are, they don't want to worry their kids. So they put on a brave face and they make sure we're happy, and they do everything they're supposed to do. And while he's putting on that mask, inside he was really struggling a lot, so he's still coping. But I think having us out of the house is very helpful, because now he's like focusing on himself, and and sometimes we're like, Dad, don't you miss us? He's like, nope. He's like, no. He's like, why would I miss you? Why am I supposed to miss you guys? I talk to you guys all the time, I don't need to miss you. I'm like, wow. And so even when we have our little calls, me and my sister will be like, play a little pranks on him and little jokes with him and stuff. So, he's still daddy, he's still him, but there's still, as a person who helps people to overcome trauma on a daily basis, he still has some work to do. But it's not my responsibility to fix him, because there was a time in my business where I was trying to fix him. There was like between 2014 and 2015, every call was like me giving him a motivational speech trying to fix him. And then one day I realized, well, Shaneil, this is not your journey.
Yes.
Let him be. In his time, he will come to the realization of him being ready, So.
Wow. Well, thank you for like sharing so much of yourself and just being such a bright light. I think many people, including myself, are like nourished by just being with you for this hour.
Oh, thank you.
So
thank you for having me. It's interesting because we never even got to like the body shaming or like anything like that. So, but I'm happy with.
Well, unless you have something else to say about that, because I felt we kind of did talk about it in the different stories. But I feel like, we kind of talked about it. It's like all these mindset things that we take in and then we kind of have to address. But maybe there's one thing you'd like to say about body shaming. Like, is there something that you feel is the biggest thing that people deal with in terms of body shame that you feel like you have a spice to add to that?
Spice. I think the biggest thing like that comes to me when I think about it is just that you're worthy because you are, honey. You're worthy because you just are. Not because of what you've done or what you do or what you're going to do. You're worthy because you exist.
Yeah.
And that's that.
Yeah. And letting that sink in is a journey, right?
Yeah. It's a daily walk.
Yes.
Remembering.
Yeah. But that's a really beautiful piece to leave with, that, we are worthy just because we exist.
We exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you. That's a great way to finish. And I really appreciate you showing up all the way in Sicily, Italy, to talk to us about this and share your juiciness and seduction.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. We'll talk to you soon, and thanks a lot. And our next week guest actually is as cool. Her name is Tehran. And she talks about self-worth too. So we'll be sort of spinning off this and going.
Yes, speaking of,
But yeah, thank you for your special gifts of like beautiful vibrancy, and we're going to take that into our hearts. So thanks a lot.
Thanks, Julie.
Bye. You don't have to leave right now. I'm going to just take us off the live, and I can say
Facebook.
goodbye
Okay,
to
bye
you
guys.
properly. Bye, everyone.